Imagine this, the year is 2026. India, a country that once imported everything from pins to aircraft engines, is now hosting world's most powerful leaders, the most powerful tech CEOs, and the most powerful minds in artificial intelligence.
We are hosting a massive summit in New Delhi. You've got 20 heads of state flying in, more than 60 ministers in attendance, and 500 plus AI bigwigs. All of them are coming here for one reason, to see India's AI capabilities, to see our AI startups and their brilliance.
As of this moment, Sam Altman is in Delhi, Sundar Pichai is in Delhi, Dario Amodei is in Delhi, the CEO of Anthropic is in Delhi, the Secretary General of United Nations is in Delhi, and not just this, more than 20 heads of states and more than 50 international ministers all have gathered at one single place. And where is that place? It is India, Bharat Mandapam, New Delhi. For the first time in history, the Global AI Summit, a summit that has previously been held in countries like UK, France, South Korea, Rwanda, has landed on the shores of Global South. And this should have been India's greatest technological movement. And in many ways, it actually was. But then what happened? A robot walked in and everything changed. So the question is it India's AI movement or AI mess? Let's first try to understand that why the summit is a massive deal. The India AI Impact Summit of 2026. It ran from February 16th to 20th, 2026 at Bharat Mandapam in New Delhi. It was hosted by India's Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology under the India AI Mission. And what's the theme? 3 Sanskrit words: people, planet, and progress. Now, of course, that's good and it sounds great on paper, but what's actually happening on the ground? Let me give you the real numbers. India has been quietly, but of course seriously, building its artificial intelligence infrastructure. The India AI Mission, which is worth over 10,300 crores, has already delivered to some extent. We have access to over 38,000 GPUs. We have around 1,000 TPUs on India's AI compute portal at a very subsidized rate of as low as 65 rupees per hour, which is compared to around 200 rupees per hour globally. We have AIRAWAT, that is Aerawat, which is India's own AI supercomputer, launched in 2023 and integrated with Param Siddhi AI, a network of around 570 AI data labs, which is being built across Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities in our country. Now, 30 labs have already been launched and 8 indigenous AI foundation model projects have been selected from around 500 odd proposals, including the Bharat Gen, which is by IIT Bombay, building a multilingual model, which is up to 1 trillion parameters, which is of course not small. And even more than that, there is India AI Fellowship as well, which is supporting around 13,500 scholars, out of which 8,000 are undergraduates, 5,000 are postgraduates, and 500 are PhD researchers. And here's a number that will surprise you. Stanford University has ranked India amongst the top 3 AI nations in the world. India has around 1.8 lakh registered AI startups, and 89% of all new startups which are launched in 2024 used AI in their products. And there are more than 100 million weekly active ChatGPT users in India, making us the second largest market for OpenAI after the United States of America. Even Sam Altman himself has revealed this at the summit. And Dario Amodei, who's Anthropic's CEO, confirmed that India is Anthropic's second largest market, with the revenue doubling since October of 2025, and the company even opened its second Asian office in Bangalore. Now, these are not just small numbers, these are world-class numbers. And the investments, what about the investments? The investments were extraordinary as well. Over $200 billion in combined AI investment commitments were announced at this one summit. Adani Group, they pledged around $100 billion for AI-powered renewable energy data centers. Microsoft committed $50 billion for global South AI infrastructure. Blackstone, it invested around $600 million in an Indian cloud startup, NESA. The Indian government, it earmarked around $1.1 billion for a state-backed AI venture capital fund. This is the real money, and this is real commitment. And then there was the Guinness World Record. On one day, India collected around 250,000 pledges for responsible AI in just 24 hours, in partnership with Intel India. The original target was around 5,000, but they got around 250,000. Now you tell me, this is incredible or not? So the stage was all set. The world was watching. And then, what happened? Of course you would know, Galgotias University walked with a robot. And this is the robot which actually broke the internet, which everyone on internet, on social media is talking about. So on February 18, 2026, third day of the summit, a Professor Neha Singh from the Communication Department of Galgotias University, which is a private institution which is in Greater Noida, stands in front of the camera from DD News, India's national broadcaster, of course, and she says, and I want you to hear these exact words, "You need to meet Orion. This has been developed by the Center of Excellence at Galgotias University." Now, as you can see, it can take all shapes and sizes, and it's quite naughty as well. Now, she was referring to a silver mechanical dog that was doing tricks, waving, moonwalking, jumping, right there on national television. Seems cute, right? Except within hours, the internet identified exactly what the robot was. It was a Unitree Go2, a commercially available robot made by Unitree Robotics, which is a Chinese company. And this robot is sold online on websites including robodog in India for approximately around 2 to 6 lakh rupees. And you can buy it right now visiting that website. And anyone can buy this. And it was launched in the year 2023 and is widely used in research institutions globally for education and experimentation. It's a great robot, of course, an excellent product, but it was not made in India. It was not made by Galgotias University. And here is where the story becomes extraordinary. Even after the backlash, even after the news got fully erupted, our IT minister, Ashwini Vaishnavji, himself has shared the original DD News video on his official social media account, proudly showcasing it as Indian innovation. Now that's the government promoting the deception before anyone else. And this backlash hit instantly. Social media exploded. The video got community noted on X, the crowdsourced fact-checking feature, which called out the contradiction between the university's denial and the video evidence, where their own representative explicitly named the robot Orion and claimed credit. Now, tech enthusiasts who have posted side-by-side comparisons, Chinese media outlets have also confirmed the product's origins. The internet was merciless to them. And then it got even worse. Reporters at the summit also discovered that the Galgotia University also had a drone exhibit. But this drone wasn't a sophisticated flying machine. It was a thermocol model held together with the tape and wire. A thermocol model at Global AI Summit. Actually, I've seen a lot. But what is this? And when authorities confronted the situation, IT Secretary S. Krishnan made it very clear that we do not want such exhibits to continue. And if you mislead, we do not want a controversial agency who believes people is exhibiting something which is not theirs. And as you could know, university was asked to vacate their stall. The reports say that officials even cut the power supply to the booth when the university initially didn't comply. And the memes, if you see the memes, they were actually savage. One went viral showing a fictional Galgotia rocket catcher, poking fun at university's history of claiming things that they did not build. X was flooded with different jokes. Users said that this is a real post. They literally brought a 4th standard kids summer project as innovation to the AI summit. And this is where it became an issue which was even greater than the AI summit itself. Now here's what we need to understand, and what I need you to understand. The full picture of Galgotias University, because this isn't just a one-day mistake. Galgotia University, which is established in 2011, has more than 40,000 students and offers more than 200 academic programs. By its scale, it's a massive institution, but it has been surrounded by controversy for years. Now, to be fair to the university's response, they went through multiple stages. The first stage was that they said that Galgotia has not built the robodog, neither they have claimed. The stage 2 was that they started reframing. They called the criticism as a propaganda campaign against the institution. They said that Unitree Go2 was a classroom in motion, a learning tool, and that what they were really building were minds that will soon design, engineer, and manufacture such technologies. And then there comes the stage 3, which is the stage of apology. The university then issued a formal apology saying that their representatives were ill-informed and were not aware of the technical origins of the product, and spoke in her enthusiasm of being on the camera without authorization. The registrar of Galgotia even offered one of the most creative explanations of 2026, suggesting that perhaps Professor Neha confused the words develop and development in the flow. Now, develop and development, like, what's the confusion? Like this, but here's the complicated truth. Like, using commercially available robots and drones in university labs, it's completely legitimate. Institutions around the world, they buy Unitree Go2 for research purposes. But what is not acceptable is standing in front of the national broadcaster at a global summit and saying that we developed this. The problem wasn't using the robot, the problem was the claim. And several political parties have also weaponized this movement immediately. The government, of course, was made a laughing stock of, and India globally was made a laughing stock of with regard to artificial intelligence. And in this ongoing AI summit, Chinese robots are being displayed as our own, which is truly embarrassing for our country. But here's what's more fascinating. This Galgotia incident wasn't even a problem. Day one of India's AI Impact Summit was by most accounts actually a logistical disaster as well. Picture this. You're a startup founder, have paid lakhs for flights, accommodations, logistics, and your exhibition booth. But you arrive at Bharat Mandapam at 7 a.m. and you have to wait in a queue for hours. And then PM's security sweep begins. And the gates are closed and you are locked outside your own booth from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now that's what happened to Maitreya Wag, who's the co-founder of voice AI startup Bolna. Now he was denied access to his company's booth. And what was his solution? He posted on X and suggested setting up an informal meet at a cafe in Connaught Place, which is a few kilometers away. Then there was Dhananjay Yadav, who was the co-founder of Neo Sapien, who trusted security assurances that items left at the booth during the PM's visit would be safe. But when he returned, his company's AI wearables had been stolen inside a high security government venue. And if you talk about the Wi-Fi, it was not working. The internet, it was patchy. And one attendee also wrote online that mobile internet is barely working over there, calling it ironic actually for an AI-focused gathering. Now, if you talk about the food counters, we'd expect digital payments, of course, at a summit on artificial intelligence, right? Digital payments would be allowed. But at India's biggest ever global tech event, food stalls only accepted cash. They did not accept UPI. Now, let that sink in. At the AI summit in Digital India, you had to pay with cash for your samosas. There was no AI-enabled badge printing, no AI-based staff finder, no intelligent queue management. And one attendee even posted that you won't feel any tech at the AI summit because there isn't anything implemented on the ground. There are long queues for the public, no live coverage of announcements at the venue, and it feels like a basic exhibition. And even IT Minister Ashwini Vaishnav, to his credit, showed up the next morning and apologized publicly. He said that if anybody has faced any problems yesterday, my apologies for that. We are working very, very hard. And this is not all. Bill Gates was expected to deliver a keynote. He withdrew from the summit entirely. The Gates Foundation confirmed that he would not attend, sending a representative in his place. Now you tell me, do you see the irony here? India is hosting the world's first global AI summit, trying to prove to the world that we are a serious AI nation, and the experience on the ground is no Wi-Fi, no UPI, no water, stolen laptops, fake Chinese robot. This is irony. If this is not irony, then what is irony? But the bigger question is the substance over the spectacle. Now, I want you to think about something very deep, because it would be easy to just laugh at Galgotias and move on. But that would be missing the point entirely. The Galgotia incident is just a mirror, and India needs to look into it very, very honestly. Here is what the mirror is showing us. The mirror is showing us the aspiration gap. India genuinely aspires to be an AI superpower. The India AI mission is real. The investment commitments are real. The talent pipeline is also real. And India's engineers, researchers, and entrepreneurs are genuinely world class. But when it comes to the theater of showing that capability, we sometimes substitute optics for outcomes. A professor who probably didn't build anything put on the show because the system around her rewards show making over substance. How many times have we seen this? Science exhibitions where models are brought from the market, research papers that are plagiarized, tech events where dashboards are shown on static images instead of live systems. And the Galgotia robot is not one bad professor's mistake. It is a symptom of a culture that sometimes rewards the appearance of innovation over actual innovation. Appearance of innovation is more important than the actual innovation itself. That is the first image which you see in the mirror. And what's the second image? That is a logistics gap. We dream of being a digital India, and in many ways we are. UPI processes 17 billion transactions a month. Aadhaar serves 1.4 billion people, and these are genuine global benchmarks. But if the country that has built UPI can't get UPI working at its own flagship AI event, then we have a gap between our best and our average, between our IITs and our event management companies, between our policy papers and our ground reality. And this gap will define whether India becomes an AI superpower or just another country with good PowerPoint presentations. That's the second image in the mirror. And the third image in the mirror is the real versus the rented. There is something deeply uncomfortable about a Chinese robot being labeled as an Indian innovation at a summit where India is trying to assert technologically self-reliance. Now, here's the nuance. China's Unitree robots is genuinely impressive. They make excellent robots, you have to give them the credit. Buying and deploying globally available tools is smart and legitimate, but the framing actually matters when India's entire narrative at the summit is AI for people, planet progress, and indigenous innovation, and the headline that the world takes away is Indian university fakes Chinese robot. That is the headline the world is taking away. The framing has actually collapsed. Now, we have talked a lot about the criticisms, but now let me flip the picture for you because, as always, we believe in balance. Now, because while we all were arguing about the robot, some genuinely incredible things were happening at the summit. Sarvam AI, an Indian startup, launched something called Sarvam Kazi, AI devices designed and built in India, not claimed but actually built. Coher Labs launched a family of multilingual models supporting over 70 languages, much of this work powered by Indian researchers. Google DeepMind CEO Demis Hassabis sat on the stage at Bharat Mandap and warned that we are at a threshold moment for AI and artificial general intelligence could arrive within 5 to 8 years. He was talking to India, to Indian students, to Indian policymakers. 100 countries engaged with India's 7 chakras working groups, shaping global AI policy from New Delhi. And perhaps the most underrated achievement is India framed this entire summit around global South inclusion, arguing that AI governance should not just be shaped by the US or the Europe, that developing nations deserve a seat at the table. Artificial intelligence must serve 8 billion people and not just the 800 million people. That framing is powerful and it's correct. The world's 2 largest AI users bases are now American and Indian. This is geopolitical power. This is economic leverage, and this is the future. And the question isn't whether India belongs in the AI conversation. The question is, how well are we preparing to lead it? That is the actual question which we need to answer. But now, the real question is, again, another question is, what India needs to do now? Let's keep this very, very sharp. 3 things India needs to fix, not for optics, but for real progress. First one is accountability over aspiration. Every government scheme, India AI mission, Make in India, Startup India, it needs hard metric dashboards. Not that we launched X labs, but here's what comes out of those labs that is very important. We have to hold institutions responsible, accountable, and stop giving exhibition spaces to universities that have actually bought robots they didn't actually build. The IT secretary got it right when he said the intention is not to stifle innovation, but it should not be misleading. That principle needs to apply everywhere, not just to embarrassing viral movements. The second is excellence as the minimum standard. India cannot afford a 2-tier innovation ecosystem where IIT Bombay and Sarvam AI represent our ceiling and thermocol drones represent our floor. The gap needs to close, not by pulling down the ceiling, but by raising the floor. This means real investment in quality of education, real lab infrastructure in state universities, not just real in premium IITs, but other places as well. Real mentorship is required, real R&D spending is required. And as you know, India spends currently around 0.65% of GDP into R&D, which is 2.5 for China, 2.4% for China, and 3.5% for US. This needs to change for India. And the third is that we need to lead the global South. And actually, for real, India has genuinely historic opportunity here. The global South, which is Africa, Southeast Asia, South Asia, Latin America, it represents billions of people who will be transformed by AI, and right now, they have no voice in how AI is governed, trained, or even deployed. India can be that voice, not by hosting summits with the dispatchy internet, but by actually building inclusive AI tools. AI tools in Kannada, in Tamil, in Marathi, in Swahili, in Bahasa, by sharing compute access with the developing nations as well. By building the kind of digital public infrastructure that made UPI a global model. The world will follow India not because we declare our leadership, but because we demonstrate it. Now let me end with something very, very simple. The Galgotias University incident is of course embarrassing. Yes, the mismanagement at the summit is disappointing, but India hosting this summit at all, this is an achievement. An achievement that would have been unthinkable even a decade ago. Now when UK hosted the first AI safety summit in Bletchley Park in 2023, India was a participant. 2 years later, India is the host. The conversation moved from safety to action to impact, and it moved to Delhi. This is not nothing. This is actually enormous. And the question is, can we match our ambition with the execution? Because the world doesn't want India's speeches, it wants India's solutions. Sam Altman said 100 million Indian use ChatGPT every week. What are they using it for? What are they building with it? What problems are they solving in agriculture, in healthcare, in education that no Silicon Valley algorithm ever thought to solve? This is India's real AI story. Not the summits, not the robots, not the investment pledges, but the real story is a farmer in Maharashtra using AI voice assistants in Marathi to understand the crop diseases, a teacher in Jharkhand using AI to personalize lessons for 80 students in a class with one textbook, a woman in Rajasthan getting a legal document explained to her by an AI model that understands her language and her context. This is people planet progress, not thermocol drones, not borrowed robots with borrowed memes. India has the talent, India has the ambition, India has increasingly the infrastructure as well. What India needs to do now is honestly to look at itself very clearly, to stop performing innovation and to start producing it. The world is watching, and frankly, so are we. And one more thing, next time when you bring a robot to a summit, please check the brand label on the bottom. That's all. Now, if this video made you think, please share it. Not for me, but because these conversations actually matter. India's AI journey is just the beginning, and every one of us, whether it be student, a founder, engineer, teacher, or voter, is a part of it. So always stay curious, stay critical, and stay honest. See you next time. Thank you and have a nice day.